Have you ever been so involved in something that hours have gone by before you even realized what was happening? Or maybe someone interrupted you for something that you're working on and you got really irritated with them and you don't even know why because it wasn't that big of a deal. Or maybe you were on a project at work and you just kept going and going and going until you felt like your bladder was about to explode and that was the only thing that could pull you out of it. These are all experiences involving something called hyperfocus. It's part of ADHD. Some people call it a blessing or maybe even ADHD superpower. Other people call it a curse. We're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about how that relates to the flow state. Is it the same thing? Some people think it might be. But we're going to talk about how to use this state to get things done in a neurotypical world. Let's start with flow state. Flow state, besides being like a super popular buzzword in the business and entrepreneurial community, it's this state of mind where you can get a lot done and it feels effortless. So obviously a lot of people are going to chase after this. We can enter a flow state based on the level of challenge or perceived challenge of what we're doing and our abilities or our skill level in doing that thing. So maybe you have a level of challenge or difficulty for whatever you're doing around here, and your skill level is around here and it's really close together. Everything just kind of gels and you can take off and get a lot done. My favorite way of explaining what flow state feels like is from one of the Harry Potter movies. Harry Potter discovers a potion, this super magic potion that's called liquid luck. And he drinks it and everything that he does for the next, I don't know how long, is perfect. He doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't know why. He just goes through and everything just kind of gels together and he is successful at everything. Maybe that isn't exactly how flow state works, but it's certainly how it feels. So now let's switch to hyperfocus. I want to illustrate hyperfocus with a story. A while ago, I was sitting on the couch. It was probably 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and I started to play a video game. It was Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is the quintessential perfect video game because there's engineering involved. So I was playing Tears of the Kingdom, and before I know it, it was like 11:30 at night. And my wife came by and said, "Hey, you should probably go to bed. You have work tomorrow." And I got really irritated with her. And I was like, "No, I don't want to go to bed." And so I kept playing until midnight, 12:30, 1 in the morning. I knew I had an early day the next day, but I didn't care. Remember, in a previous video, we talked a bit about the rebellious nature of ADHD, where people tell you what to do and you just kind of give them the finger. Yeah, I was in that state. It didn't work out so well, but I couldn't pull myself away from what I was doing. It definitely wasn't flow state. I got super irritated when I got interrupted, but I didn't realize that so much time had passed because I was so involved with what I was doing. And this is one of the hallmarks of hyperfocus. Hyperfocus fits with ADHD because ADHD, remember from previous videos, is a dysregulation. We have problems regulating all sorts of things, like, for example, emotions and attention and things like that. So this is a case of attention. But instead of being, I don't know, pulled in a million different directions because something is shiny, instead it's I'm so locked in what I'm doing that I actually can't stop. That's what hyperfocus is. And then when you get interrupted, the dysregulation of emotion can pull in and we get angry at whoever's interrupting us, even though we may or may not want to continue doing the thing that we're doing. That's a major difference between flow state. So the first step is to figure out what we want to hyperfocus on and why. This is really important because if we know what and why, we can pull in NICU, which I also talked about in a previous video. NICU stands for novelty, interest, challenge, and urgency. And it's the 4 things you can do in order to get your brain to get engaged, even if the thing that you want to do is nowhere near what you want to spend your time on, but you know you have to. Step number 2 is to realize what you're about to get yourself into. Remember, we are going to lose track of time. This isn't flow. It's not going to be effortless. This is going to be a grind. You're going to be going at this like crazy, and it's going to take a lot of effort, and you're going to be exhausted by the time this is done. So you need to do 3 things as part of step 2. Number 1, eat a snack. Number 2, drink some water. And number 3, go use the restroom. Those are all 3 really important things if you want to go into hyperfocus and not get bothered or pulled out and super annoyed because of it. Step 3 is to help other people, but also to help us to ease into hyperfocus, but also to help us ease out of hyperfocus. Let me explain. You put on headphones. Those headphones tell people that I'm busy, don't interrupt me. So even if someone talks to you, you're not going to be able to hear them, and they know that visually by seeing you. What you play in the headphones can also be really important. Now, I know people that use music, generally music without words, and something a little bit softer, but it has to have enough variation so that you don't get super bored with it. It's going to play in the background. You're not going to really pay all that much attention to it, and as soon as you start hyperfocusing, you'll barely know it's there. I use a particular kind of music called binaural music. You can find it on YouTube, you can find it wherever, you can buy tracks of it in all sorts of places. I use an app called Endel. Endel creates binaural beats with enough variation to the music using AI so it doesn't pull me out of hyperfocus because I get annoyed because the music starts getting really annoying. At the same time, the AI varies the music enough so that parts of my brain stay interested in the music and the rest of me can hyperfocus without too much trouble. By the way, I should mention that Endel has not sponsored this video and I'm not getting any money out of mentioning them at all. A few other things you can do as part of step 3 to be nice to people is maybe close the door, hang up a sign saying please do not disturb, hyperfocusing, or will get cranky if interrupted, whatever you can come up with. Step 4 is actually a what not to do. I tried to use timers involved with hyperfocus. It didn't really work out. The timer would go off and it would pull me out of hyperfocus enough so that I'd have to turn it off and then get back into hyperfocus again. It was super annoying, so don't bother with timers. Step number 5, just start working. You'll find that after maybe 5-10 minutes of really getting into it, the hyperfocus will kick in. That's part of why we wanted to use that binaural music, is because that helps ease the brain into focus, which really helps. It makes the transition into hyperfocus so much easier and a lot less strenuous. So after you've worked for a really long time or however long you need to, and the thing is done or you're far enough along or whatever, and you get pulled out of hyperfocus and you can be done, that brings us to step 6. Step number 6 is going to sound an awful lot like step number 2. Snack, water, restroom. You've just done this Herculean feat of working very intensely for probably a long period of time. You need to energize your body again. That's the snack. You're probably dehydrated, so get some water in there. And you definitely will need to go to the bathroom. Now, the binaural music will help ease your brain out of the hyperfocus, but it's still going to feel maybe like someone went to the inside of your skull with a cheese grater or whatever. You're going to be really tired, mentally exhausted. That's okay. That's part of the hyperfocus. But what you want to do now is get your body engaged. Remember, we recover with opposites. So if we did a whole lot of mental work, we need to do something physical in order to recover. So get up, walk around, stretch the muscles out, do what you need to do in order to recover physically, bring your body into that recovery process. That brings us to step number 8. Step number 8 is to ease yourself back into the social world. Go talk to somebody, have an interaction, preferably an enjoyable one, so that you can remember that there's more to life than grinding, and you can get that social interaction that's going to help energize you. So whether hyperfocus is a blessing or a curse, I don't know. But what I do know is it's part of the ADHD experience and it's here to stay. So we can use hyperfocus, though, using these steps that we talked about, in order to ease into it and ease out of it and use it to still get things done. It may not be as good as flow state, but you know what? It's still a tool that we can use as people who are neurospicy in a neurotypical world in order to thrive. So thanks for spending some time with me today. I appreciate you, and I look forward to the next time when we engineer the crap out of ADHD.